For 3 seasons now, The Handmaid's Tale has been building up to one central question: how will June get her revenge? Moss has been ramping up the characters' long stares and twisted smiles. The stars have been pushed into alignment so she can confront the show's big bads time and again. The rules of Margaret Atwood's universe have been bent and twisted and modeled to give June, and presumably, many viewers, closure. I expect we were meant to feel good, or maybe even jubilant, at the sight of Fred Waterford curled up on the ground with righteous fists and feet pummeling him from all angles. Here were June and her angels of fury, giving one commander the sort of ending he'd designed and approved for so many others. And the symmetry was beautifully designed. The former handmaids, and maybe Martha's, arranged in a perfect circle around him, just as they'd been trained to do when told to stone and kill one of their own kind. They turned the system's tactics against him. The irony was delicious. But I didn't feel gleeful watching Fred take a swift one to the face. Instead, I wondered whether we're meant to think of this as female empowerment, and if revenge, violent, bloody, tit-for-tat, Old Testament-style retribution, is the best possible outcome we can imagine for victims. Legally, June has exhausted all her options. Perched in front of that video camera in a lonely, but chic, bureaucratic building, she knows that her statement is a blip. Nobody will care. No judge will toss out the agreement with Waterford just because June is still traumatized. She isn't wrong when she explains to Moira and Rita that the International Criminal Court cares more about what their new source can bring them versus what horror he's wrought in the past. Maybe what he's giving them is more valuable than what he took from me, she says. Moira thinks a trip to Switzerland to speak at his final hearing or a media blitz will jolt the ICC into action. But only June, to her credit, sees that the machine in Canada and the machine in Gilead are equally fixated on their own agendas. What the show needed was to put June's back up against the wall, not the wall, just the proverbial one, and force her to bare her fangs again. Sitting outside Tuello's apartment building, just hoping he'd jog on by, she's ready with a plan. A ludicrous plan, but a plan nonetheless. Even if only for a moment, The Handmaid's Tale finally threw a character in June's way who wouldn't yield to her demands just because she's, as Moira puts it, June fucking Osborne. Tuello is the other side of the coin, dedicated to the rule of law, a company man. If the legal system doesn't yield a fair result, well, he's sorry but one must simply accept it. He's right that it's rather inappropriate for Miss Osborne to show up outside his home and try to June her way into a diplomatic backdoor.